Well, hello and welcome to the, sorry, I got off track. Well, hello to Understand Men Now. I'm Jonathan Asley of jonathanashley.com, and I'm so excited to be doing this live stream for you today. Our topic, the 5 sexy mindsets high value men love, and number 3 might surprise or shock you. All right, really quickly, if you're new to my YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you can be notified of new videos. And if any time during this video you like the content, it resonates with you, please do me a favor and hit that like button. I know I shouldn't have to say this, but it helps with the algorithm so more people get to see this. So I'd really appreciate that like button. All right, really quickly, we're going to get into the content, but if you're watching the replay right now, just know I do the content first, then I go into Q&A. So I'm going to do the content first, and I'm going to go into Q&A. That way you don't have to stick around. Although I will tell you, the Q&A is the best part, so I hope you do stick around. So we're going to jump into those 5 sexy mindsets high value men love, and number 3 might shock you. Now, really quickly, I want to be candid with you. I actually saw this title out on the YouTube universe, like just a slightly different version of it, and I watched a couple of my contemporaries' videos, and I found it very interesting, and I thought, I'm going to do my own version of this. That's what I do. When I see titles I like, I do my own version. But I thought, you know what, I might share what some of my contemporaries say are the sexy mindsets. So, but this isn't the one I think that's most valuable. So just want to help you understand where I'm coming from. So a lot of people will tell you kindness is a great mindset, and sense of humor is a great mindset, and being caring is a great mindset, and being flexible might be a great mindset. And I don't mean flexible in your body, but your ability to adapt and to things in your environment. And there was another one I wrote down. Oh, yeah. And to be able to see the big picture. These are great, sexy mindsets to have. Certainly to have this before you begin a relationship with someone. These are great things to have. And whether you're a man or woman, I just think these are healthy things to be in life. These are incredibly healthy things to come from a kind place, to come from a caring place, to see the bigger picture in relationships, to have a sense of humor. Sadly, a lot of people have zero sense of humor when dating. They're so rigid and tied up in everything. And of course, being flexible. So those are great mindsets to have, but I want to go deeper. If you follow my channel, it's because we go beyond the surface of what the rhetoric that's being taught, the attraction-based way of dating. And I'm here to encourage a more conscious, intentional, emotionally mature way to date. So the following mindsets I'm talking about is actually transposable for men and women. This is for human beings. And I think human beings that exhibit this level of consciousness are the most attractive people to choose to be in relationship. Let me repeat that. People that adopt what I'm about to share with right now are the ones that I think are the most attractive to be in relationship. And it's not based on looks. It's based on how they view their world. So let's jump into those 5 sexy mindsets that Jonathan's going to talk about today. And number 1 is so ridiculously important. I can't believe I have to say this out loud, but it's that your actions match your words. Your actions match your words. And sadly, men and women alike, their actions don't match their words. And by the way, this is directly from the book, The 4 Agreements. The 4 Agreements. If you're not familiar with the book, The 4 Agreements, literally what I'm about to share today is piggybacked on what this book talks about. I want everyone to order this book. If you don't have a copy, check out the link in the Jonathan description of Jonathan Recommends. This should be on your nightstand, because it talks about how to be a really emotionally mature, healthy human being. And it's important that our actions match your words. And I can tell you, it was some months ago, I was communicating with someone on a dating site, and we were instant messaging each other, and we had planned on talking. I think it was on a Monday evening. And she wanted to talk to me the night before. I was busy. I said, how about Monday? She said, great. So Monday at around a half hour before we were supposed to connect on the phone, I said, hey, I just want to touch base with you. I'm going to call, reach out to you in about 30, 35 minutes. Does that work for you? And she goes, oh, I'm out with my girlfriend and we're running a little bit late at happy hour. And I was a little surprised because we had planned a phone date and she had said 5 p.m. works great. And then I get a message saying, I'm out with my girlfriend. It's going to be a little bit longer. I said, look, I'm free for an hour. Does that work for you? And I didn't hear back from her. In fact, I didn't hear back from her for 24 hours. And then I got I was with my girlfriend. I'm running late, blah, 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 this or that. I'm sorry I didn't text. Well, that sent a signal to me saying this person's actions don't match their words. Now, we have all these kind of exceptions, and I want to share with you something. But, most of I lost a child. Most of I lost a child. I lost my 19-year-old son, Connor. In fact, today is his birthday. And on the day of his death, I was supposed to have a date that night. Now, I think no one begrudged me if I blew that person off and didn't call them. But you know what? To me, my actions match my words. I reached out and said, hey, look, I've had a family tragedy. I can't make it tonight. Now, I didn't go into the particulars, but I had the courtesy to do that. And whether it's a man or woman, I think one of the sexiest things a human being could be is your actions consistently match your words. It's not, if I'd blown off the date, I don't think she would have begrudged me, for the reason, I just lost a child and it's not some bullshit excuse. But that's an understandable reason. But to say you're out with your girlfriends and I got tied up and everything, yeah, I get it. But that showed that you didn't value this enough. And that's not, to me, that's not a sexy mindset I'm attracted to. So my invitation for everyone is your actions match your words. By the way, today I'm drinking coffee and it is, I make the world go around. What do you do? I make the world go around. What do you do? And that's a That's All cup, one of my all-time favorites. All right, number 2, and this is so sad in today's society, but we have human beings that don't take personal responsibility for their choices. They don't take personal responsibility for their choices. Here in the United States, I can't speak for the rest of the world, but we're suckling on the nipple of victim consciousness. I mean, it is nothing but victim consciousness and very few people taking ownership in their own lives. And this is particularly true in the dating realm, especially when it comes to their past relationships. I continually talk to women, and I know, by the way, everything I'm saying goes in reverse. It goes for men too. But I talk to women continually that all they do is throw their ex-husband under the bus or their ex-boyfriend under the bus and take no ownership on why they even stayed in the relationship. Because quite frankly, if I called the ex-husband or the ex-boyfriend, I'm sure they would throw the bus at the other person. So who's right? Quite frankly, nobody's right. You're only, I don't even like the term right, but you're healthy when you say, you know what, I made a poor choice. I stayed in a relationship that should have ended much sooner, whatever the things behind it, but you take ownership of why you do things in your life. And sadly, most people don't. And that's not a very sexy mindset when you are in victim consciousnesses. And I say we are suckling on the nipple of victimhood, at least here in the United States. And in the dating realm, oh my God, it's nothing but victim, 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 victims. And I don't mean that someone might have had abuse in their life or but unless you have to call a doctor, an attorney, or a policeman, unless you have to call one of those 3 things, and you have a valid reason, then everything else is not, you have to, here's my invitation, is you take ownership in your life. Are you with me? Can I get an amen? All right, number 3, and this is the shocking one. I call it fighting fair, fighting fair. Here's the thing, most humans, when they're in an argument with someone, they're trying to prove that they're right and that you're wrong. So let me repeat that. I'm right and you're wrong. I'm right and you're wrong. That's not fighting fair. Fighting fair means I'm going to listen to your point of view. I'm going to accept your point of view as being true for you. I'm going to ask you to listen to my point of view. I'm going to ask you to accept my point of view as being true for you. And maybe we can find some common ground, but it's not I'm right and you're wrong. As I shared in a previous podcast, there's this great show on Showtime called Couples Therapy. Couples Therapy. It just ended their season. But what the couples therapist said is most couples go into therapy going to the therapist going, change my partner, change my partner, change my partner, instead of taking ownership of their part. And this is where that righteous consciousness comes in, that egoic, I'm better than you type of consciousness, which is not a very sexy mindset. A sexy mindset is we're part of a team. We want to work together. Is this sinking in? Please let me know. Okay, number 4, and that's empathy. And empathy isn't just I can feel your feelings. Empathy is I care about your feelings. And actually, this starts from the very beginning. When a man opens a car door, that's certainly a nice gesture. When a man picks up the tab, that's a nice gesture. Those are nice gestures. But I want us to go deeper than the nice gestures. I want us to talk about really caring about someone from the get-go, from a place of how can I be a giver instead of a taker? And so, now I know a lot of women can claim that they have empathy. I get that they care more. But here's what happens for a lot of women. It's not that they care about the man's feelings. It's that they've given their feelings over to a man. They've given their feelings over to a man. Ladies, I can see this happening time and time again. You're giving your power away to a man. That's not it's not caring about his feelings. It's you've abandoned your own feelings because you're afraid that if you say one little thing, it's going to upset the apple cart in relationship. And I'm here to say, Chapter 1 in my book, by the way, if you're brand new to my channel, this is my book called What the Heck is Self-Love Anyway? There's a link below, Self-Love the book. Chapter 1, speak your truth, do it with kindness. And later on in the book, if it's sincere and from the heart, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. So I'm here to say, ladies, empathy isn't giving your power away and thinking that's empathy. Empathy is you and your partner genuinely care about each other's feelings for one another. You want to know about each other's feelings and you care about how each other feels. And if you really want to go to a deeper level of love, it's not that you just care about your partner's feelings and you meet your partner's feelings. Their feelings start to become your feelings as well. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating? I hope it is. And number 5 is transparency. Transparency. If it's material to the relationship, you're going to be transparent with your partner. It might be like being candid in the beginning of the dating process saying you have an STD. It might be being candid saying that I'm going through a contentious divorce. It might be say that I still have a relationship with my ex-boyfriend or girlfriend or something. If it's material to the relationship, then be transparent. Now, does this mean vomit your feelings? No. But if it's material to another human being, then let's all start being transparent instead of secretive. And this is one of the reasons why dating is such a big challenge today, because most people aren't vulnerable, authentic, and transparent. And I want to encourage that for everybody. I want to encourage that you read the book, The 4 Agreements. I want to encourage you to read my book, What the Heck is Self-Love, which is a journey of personal development, self-help, and spiritual work. Because ultimately, when you learn to love on yourself, then you can open and expand yourself to a relationship with someone else. And that's my invitation for you, is to get these sexy mindsets, because this is a mindset of emotional maturity. This is a sign. These are the mindsets of emotionally mature people. Their actions match your words. You're in victor consciousness. You know how to fight fair. You have empathy, which means not giving your power away, but actually owning your power and caring about another person, and then being transparent if it's material to the relationship. Those are the 5 sexy mindsets that high value men like. And when I talk about high value, I'm talking about emotionally mature people. And when 2 emotionally mature people meet and fall in love, those are the relationship that have the greatest chance of going to the distance, to being a juicy, delicious, healthy, happy relationship. And most everybody else is in mediocre relationships because they don't adopt these 5 things that I am encouraging everybody to do every moment of their life. Is this sinking in? If it is, please hit that like button. All right, we're going to take questions in a moment. The theme for today, the theme of questions I want it to be is, what's your greatest challenge with dating these days? What's your greatest challenge with dating you these days? And if you post a question, write the word question and post it. As a reminder, if you purchase a super sticker or a super chat, all the funds go to a foundation I'm going to be starting for my son, Connor, right there, who passed away. And so again, super sticker, super chat, if you want to ask a question that way. There's a little $ in the chat box. For those watching the replay, it's not there. It's only for those that are in the live chat. So 2 things I want to cover before we start taking questions today. Number 1, last Friday, I wasn't able to make the live stream, and I gave you 5 chances of what it might have been. Did I have a hot date? Did I throw my back out? Was I just not feeling it? Oh, I can't remember the other 3, but I want you to know, or was I overwhelmed and tired? I actually threw my back out. So I went to the chiropractor on Friday. I was laid out all weekend, and I'm still kind of hurting today, but I felt a strong need to do today's live stream for a very special reason. And that is, today is Connor's birthday. Connor's birthday. This is my son, Connor. He passed away almost 3 years ago. Today would have been his 22nd birthday. I don't know if you can tell, but the shirt I'm wearing is actually the exact shirt he's wearing here. I'm wearing his shirt today. And today I want to honor him on his birthday. So I pulled out a little cupcake, and I want us to all sing happy birthday to Connor. So, and then we'll get started today. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, my dear son, Connor. Happy birthday to you. And my wish is, I'm going to say my wish out loud because this is for everybody. What you taught me, Connor, was how to break my heart open. And my hope is, by being an advocate of love, that I break everybody's heart open. So in honor of Connor, I want us to all love ourselves and love others. Love ourselves, others. And that's my wish on behalf of Connor. So let's all pray for that. If you're with me, happy birthday, Connor. And I'm going to take a big bite. All right. And by the way, I found some of Connor's pot. His pot's 3 years old. I'm not going to smoke it today, but in honor of Connor, I'm going to. He grew pot in his backyard. He had a whole thing going on. He was actually learning hydroponics and everything. He was learning how to become a farmer, and so here's some leftover pot of his. I'm actually an edibles person. I really don't smoke much, but so anyways, thank you for allowing me to be in your lives today, share a little bit of Connor with you all. It means a lot to me. He was the impetus for me writing my book, What the Heck is Self-Love Anyway? He is throughout the book. We might talk about him today, but I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to share that with you. And let's get started with questions. Let's get the theme about what's the biggest challenge with dating today. So let me put on my trusty glasses. You're stoned funny. Someone says, you are stoned funny. Edibles are the way to go. I agree. Tina Lee says, I love this so much. Thank you. Pat says, your wish is granted. Thank you. Lisette says, happy birthday, Connor. Let me tell you, he must be very proud of his dad. Oh, thank you. All right, let's start taking questions. Again, our theme is, and I want to thank everybody. Oh my God, there's so many here. Oh, Kelly, big hugs to you. Thank you so much. Oh, Emily has a question. All right, let's just jump into the Q&A. All right, question. It's important to ask the right questions, but what are those questions aside from what does commitment or commute relationships look like? What else should we be asking in the beginning? Okay, Emily, great question. By the way, for those listening, this is actually part of my private coaching program called My Private Coaching Working with Me. I actually teach you the roots to trust and how to actually get to know another human being and how to vet for emotional maturity. Now, I teach you all this technique in my private coaching. So if you're really interested in coaching, check out the link to a discovery call in the description to schedule a call with me to hear about my coaching. But for Emily, I'm going to give you something to ponder here. I think it's important to ask a person about their past relationships, And the benefit of asking about past relationships, it gives you insight into how they might navigate a future relationship. So now again, in my private coaching, I teach you the deeper meanings behind what questions to ask in a past relationship. But that's another thing to get a sense of someone's future. It's always good to look a little bit backward and see how do they respond to questions about their past. Do they come at it from a victim consciousness or a victor consciousness? And those are some of the things I teach in my private coaching. So Emily, great question. It's something I can certainly help you with if you want to go deeper than just the surface. So thank you so much. All right. Oh, look at this. Leaf. Here, let me find this. Leaf gave us a $20 super sticker. Thank you so much for Connor. We really appreciate that, Leaf. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate that. All right, so let's see what else we have. If you have a question, post the word question. Post the word question and then write your question out. So, oh, by the way, well, really quickly, Connor's nickname is Salty. So whenever you see me post Salty Forever or anything like that, that's why I share that with everyone. Okay, Jennifer writes, been dating a man for a year. I've seen him making effort to grow, but he still doesn't fight fair sometimes. Low emotional maturity. How long should I let this behavior continue? So I'm a great question, by the way, and it's not letting the behavior continue. I think what's important is to actually talk about your relationship at a much deeper level than the surface level. So what you could simply say is, I recognize that whenever we're in a disagreement with one another, you seem to take the position that you're right and I'm wrong. And I can certainly understand that why you would do that, because it's very natural for human beings to operate from the premise that they're right. But isn't it possible that I might also be right as well? Isn't it possible that my point of view has value? So, well, let's say your boyfriend's name is Tim. Say, Tim, is it possible that we can listen to each other when we have a disagreement and accept each other's point of view being true for each one of us? Can you accept my point of view being true for me? I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying, can you accept that it feels true for me? And can we maybe come at a challenge or a difference from a place of, how can we both win? How can we both win? Instead of, how can I win? How can we both win? Because there's an old saying, I would rather be happy than right. I would rather be happy than right. So my invitation for everybody is to start leaning into a deeper, more authentic conversation with your partner and simply say, hey, just the way I laid out, is it okay if the next time we have a disagreement that you hear my side and acknowledge and validate that my side feels true for me? I'm not saying it's right, but I'm also not saying you're right. I'm just saying I will accept it being true for you. Can we both agree to do this? And see how he responds. Does he respond with like guards up? Is he guarded? Or does he respond from an open heart? Because if a person cannot respond from an open heart, how much deeper in intimacy can that person go if they're always not going to appreciate your point of view and accept your point of view as being true for you? Does that help, Jennifer? I hope it does. All right, big thumbs up. Great question. Thank you so much. All right. Oh, another super sticker. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Jenny, or Janine. Janine, Jenny. Oh God, I'm terrible with names. Please forgive me, everyone. I so screw this stuff up, but thank you so much. Big hugs to you. Okay, question. Is it really about being right or? Okay, so let's go back to this idea of when we have disagreements. Oftentimes, when each person is defending their point of view, there's this natural inclination. The ego wants to operate from the place, I'm right and you're wrong. This is usually what happens. Not everyone, an emotionally mature person doesn't operate from that place. They express their point of view. They ask their partner to accept their point of view as being true for them. You listen to their point of view, you accept their point of view as being true for them. But most people operate from a very egoic place, or a fear-based place. Either I'm right and you're wrong, or I'm always wrong. That's the fear-based place. So I think that's why I said it that way. Is it always that way? Not always, but typically when there's contention in relationship, people go into their corners and they operate from a place of I'm right and you're wrong. Okay. And like I said, there's, it's better to be happy than right. At least that's what someone taught me. Okay. Sandy asks, how do you ask a man where you stand with him? Do you just hang out and go on and on? When are you allowed to ask if you're exclusive? All right. For those who know me, know. Here's the thing. Before the penis ever goes inside the vagina, you better have a conversation about what this relationship is all about. So number one, that's your last chance. Okay. Well, let me reframe that. Before the penis goes into the vagina the second time, the first time, look at, you can have sex the first time and you don't have to worry about monogamy and exclusivity if you never see each other again. It really only matters if you continually have sex, then you better have the conversation about monogamy and exclusivity. And I'm a big proponent, first off, I'm a big proponent of dating one person at a time. If you're going to see someone on a regular basis, I'm not a big proponent of dating multiple people at the same time. I know a lot of coaches sell you on that, but that's stupid rules-based way of dating. The book, The Rules, this is so stupid because ladies, I get it. You're told date multiple men. Well, here's what's happening is men are dating multiple women. How are we ever going to fall in love if everybody's dating 100 people at the same time? That's an exaggeration. I don't mean that, but it's stupid. Look at how long does it take to date someone 3 or 4 times in a row? A week or 2 or 3? It's not that much time to invest in one person to see if you want to perpetuate something. That's my philosophy. And if you're going to be intimate with someone, you better know where you stand. You better know where you stand. I'd like to have some clarity that we're both monogamous and exclusive with one another. This is why I teach my technique called CARES. CARES, C-A-R-E-S. First, don't have sex with someone unless you feel comfortable. Number 2, the A stands for be aware of the consequence. In other words, if you get attached to someone too quickly, then be aware of that. Number 3, the R, learn his real intentions. Is this guy for real or is he just trying to get laid? Number E, exclusivity, and S stands for safety. Whether that's condoms, whether that's birth control, whether that's STD tests, be safe. CARES, C-A-R-E-S. So going back to when to talk about this, certainly before you become intimate with one another, and again, if you're going to have sex twice, that's at least beforehand and not after. That's my invitation. By the way, ladies, when I'm dating, I simply say something like this, right? If I'm going to see someone more than 3 times, if I feel that, I say, hey, look, just something you know about me. When I'm dating someone, I like to be monogamous and exclusive. How do you operate? Now, I've had some women get really turned off by this. What do you mean? You're asking for a commitment right away? No, it's just, I don't like to sleep with other people at the same time. And when I like somebody, I don't like being distracted by 15 other women. And believe me, ladies, I get tons of distraction. So when I like someone, I actually turn off my dating apps because I'm blessed. Thank you. That's my mom and dad. Mommy and daddy, thank you for giving me the 2 most important things women want. You gave me height and hair. Thank you. 6'2", full head of hair. I'm grateful. I'm in the top 1%. So I'm grateful for that. But I don't want, going back to the dating, I don't want to be, if I like someone, I don't want to be distracted by other people. That's why dating is such a fucking challenge today, because everybody is duty dating and circular dating and dating multiple people, and they're trying to figure shit out. And we're not giving one person a chance to just to get to know them. That's why I'm encouraging a better way to date, mate, and relate, to be more intentional. If you really want to read a great book, read the book If the Buddha Dated. If the Buddha Dated. I highly recommend reading this book to understand it from a spiritual perspective and not the stupid rules-based egoic, fucking, this is so stupid, I want to throw it in the trash. It's like, but I have to keep it just for an illustration, but it teaches you manipulation. It doesn't, if you really want to get a heart-based book, buy this book, Making Love All the Time by Barbara DeAngelis. This is a heart-centered book instead of this fucking piece of trash. All right, I was yelling. Is this sinking in? I hope so. Thank you, Sandy. I appreciate that. All right, let's see. If you have a question, Leaf says, so true, Jonathan. And too many coaches encourage abundance. That's messy. Yeah, abundance. Yeah. Look, by the way, I'm a big proponent of abundance, but from a perspective of my heart is abundant and gigantic, and I can attract my life mate, but not dating multiple people at the same time to get there. It's going to create a lot of confusion. By the way, I know a lot of you are going, well, Jonathan, I can't even get one date. If you're having a problem getting one date, there's a good chance you're not putting a good representation of yourself out there. So that's why I encourage you to hire a coach like myself, so you can have a better representation of who you are out in the world, so you can be seen by single eligible men or women. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating? I hope so. Please hit that like button too. All right, let's go through our questions. I'm gonna have to stand up in a minute. My back is hurting. Oh, Pat. Okay. What do you do when no matter what you want to talk about gets defensive? Why would he be so defensive when we've been together for decades? So I'm going to assume you're married, or you said you've been together for decades. Why do people get defensive? I think one of the greatest challenges in relationships today is that we take people for granted and we stop being in a state of appreciation or gratitude. Let me repeat that. We take people for granted and we stop being in a state of appreciation or gratitude. And people that get defensive oftentimes are struggling deeply on the inside with childhood wounds and traumas or adult traumas that have gone unhealed. This is why people like that, which is pretty much every human being on the planet, because even I get defensive, should read this book, The Hoffman Process. The Hoffman Process. This is a deep dive into childhood wounds and traumas, as well as adult traumas, to heal the past so we don't have to be in a state of needing to be defensive in any relationship. But I can tell you that most likely it's really a lack of appreciation and gratitude for maybe one another in this particular case. I know you probably care about him, and I'm sure he cares about you, but ultimately when people stop, look at, nothing purifies life like death. It took Connor actually having to leave for me to really learn the most valuable lesson in life, and that is to love. To first love on oneself, to put the oxygen mask first on oneself. And that's the most important thing, Pat, for yourself. Is so he gets defensive. How about you working on yourself? And I can tell you, you might actually have the courage to end a relationship that may not be healthy for you. I think divorce is a good thing, not a bad thing, because two people who are not aligned with each other should not be together just because they have to. I don't know your circumstances, but let me just say this. Focus on yourself. Focus on loving on yourself, because when you love on yourself, you don't accept bad behavior from other human beings. And as speaking as a man who lost a child, I refuse to allow myself to ever be a victim to anyone else, because I learned the most important thing in life since Connor's passing, and that is to appreciate myself, not from an egoic place of righteousness, but from a place of loving myself and loving everyone else. And that's my invitation. That was the birthday invitation I passed on to everybody. Remember that? Here, I'm going to take a bite. God, that's a lot of frosting. I hope that helped. So thank you so much, Pat. All right. Oh my God, that is so good. I got it at Whole Foods. All right. Adelie says, or what? Oh, I butchered your name. I want to marry my best friend. Me too. All right. Let's see. M. Jenkins, are you the one on Barbara DeAngelis' PhD? Great book. Actually, what she's talking about is this book. Are You the One for Me by Barbara DeAngelis? Who's right and avoiding who's wrong. I love this book. Oh my God, I love this book. This is such a great book. It should be in your repertoire. Ladies, ladies and gentlemen, if you really want to change your life, get that book. Great suggestion. Thank you, M. Jenkinson, excuse me. All right. Amanda writes, by the way, if you have a question, post the word question or buy a super sticker, a super chat, and post your question as well. Okay. And by the way, thank you those who have already purchased a super chat. Again, that goes to the Connor Fund. We're going to build a foundation so I can support others by providing scholarships to personal development growth. That's my goal with the foundation. All right. Amanda writes, question. How do you know if a guy wants to sleep with you or wants an actual relationship? Guys usually tell women what they want to hear in the beginning to get what they want. Love this question. How can you tell the difference? Okay, ladies, let's just first understand this. Every time you've heard the phrase, men love the hunt, men love the chase, do you think they're actually chasing? I want to be in a relationship. I want to be in a relationship. I want to be in a relationship. Do you think that's what we're actually chasing or hunting for? No. Biologically speaking, what do we hunt for? We hunt to get laid. We hunt to spread our seed. That's what we're hunting for. And men love we love competition. Yeah, we love that. When we get laid once. Okay. So all those guys that come on strong and everything, and you're just thinking, oh my God, he's just so perfect. Guess what? When a man comes on ridiculously strong, and he's also, and this is the caveat for you, Amanda, if it's also leaning towards a sexual nature, then chances are he's in it for the short run, for the sex run, okay? The sex run. Men who are actually high quality men, high value men, whatever you talk about, that genuinely want a spouse, a wife, someone in their life long term, they still look at, I am a horny son of a bitch. I love to fuck and I want to fuck regularly. And it really sucks not having a girlfriend for the last few years. So let me just be clear about that. Okay. And yes, I have done what most men, I have done this in the past. I've done what I call relationship talk to convince you to have sex with me. I've done that, but it's usually I'm pushing the sex first. I say that I do the relationship talk, it's to tee it up, but I'm immediately pushing sex. Most guys will tee up with the relationship talk, they'll push for sex, and then as soon as they've had the sex, they disappear because that's what they were chasing. How do you know a man is genuinely serious? First off, if you go out, here's the thing, most men who are just in it for the sex barely will date you 3 times, will barely date you 3 times. So if you go out 4, 5, or 6, most of the time I'm seeing most women, at least my clientele, they're having sex somewhere between the 6th and 10th date. Most men who are in it for the short run barely make it past the 3rd date. Now, does that mean the relationship is going to work out? Absolutely not. But you have a better chance of weeding them out by basically being a little bit, there's an old saying, men are the gas, women are the brakes. Just be a little bit slow in the sex department. But if someone is coming on way strong sexually, that's usually the sign. And again, I'm a horny guy. I like to talk about sex too, but I'm also patient. I'm not pushing someone. Ultimately, the right guy waits for when you're ready. That's the bottom line. The right guy waits for when you're ready, not when he's ready, when you're ready. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating? I hope it is. Great question, Amanda. Love, love, love that. All righty. Michael Krein, you made me blush. I would not expect you to. I'm sorry, I'm reading. I guess there's a communication going on. So, Kimberly writes, how do you date with, okay, great. Okay, how do you date with younger children? I have waited to introduce my child for 6 months. When is too soon for my son? Was hurt when it came to an end. Okay. When is the right time to introduce children to your relationship? I'm a believer when two people have agreed to be monogamous and exclusive, and they call each other boyfriend and girlfriend, usually somewhere between the 3-month and the 6-month mark would be a good time. This is just an arbitrary number, but would be a good time to introduce children to this potential partner. Because here's the bottom line. What happens if you wait a year to introduce your children? You've gotten entrenched in the relationship. The man meets the children and goes, I want no part of this. The reality is if you want to be joined together at some point, the children are a part of the process. It doesn't take that long to get to know each other. Look, it takes roughly 100 hours of face-to-face time to get to know someone at level 1. To get to know them at level 1. So, once you've invested 100 hours of doing shared activities, hobbies, mutual interests, doing stuff with friends, that sort of thing, traveling, that might be a good time when you feel like this is going. Now, and by the way, it might be also important to ask, is this a serious long-term relationship or is this a casual relationship? Because if something is serious and long-term, someone wants to pursue a long-term with you, I would want to know that before I introduce my child. And you could literally say that, ladies, look at, I want to introduce my children to you, but I don't want to introduce them if this is a short-lived relationship. So, dude, fucking man up and say, are you willing to explore long-term or is this casual for you? Because if this is casual for you, then, and I'm not going to introduce my children, quite frankly, I don't want to date you then. I mean, look at ladies, you can do casual relationships all you want. I'm not here to suggest you can't do that, but I'm here to say, do you want a relationship that goes the distance or do you want it to be somebody you used to know? And maybe you can use your children as the backdrop for the conversation, because a genuine guy who knows he's not going to go the distance with you will avoid meeting your children, and ultimately he'll probably back out. So talk about it sooner rather than later. That's my invitation for you. And I make the world go around. What do you do? All right. Great question, Kimberly. Thank you so much. Bump. Genie in the bottle. I paid to have my question answered. It's under Jenny. Oh God, shoot, Jenny. All right. I didn't see your, here, let me scroll. Please do me a favor. Post your actual, cut and paste and post your question again. Let me find that, because there's a lot of activity going on here. So Michelle says, nicely said, John. Open and honest. Respect your honesty. Thank you so much. Janine, please, I did ask one of your questions, but do me a favor, post it again. I'm so sorry. I did not see it. You should never introduce your children unless you know it's going to be a serious relationship. I would tend to agree with that. Okay, Kimberly writes, another Kimberly. Why is my boyfriend so easy to be against me? Like, instead of being supportive when I go back to a toxic friendship, he gets mad at me and puts me down and fights with me. Okay, great question. That sounds like a man who's deeply wounded, and he focuses on projecting his problems out onto the world. He's not focused. Here's the thing. Whenever there's that kind of energy, it's people are deflecting from their actual own wounds and traumas, and they're basically in what I call victim consciousness, like what I said before. So why does he do that? Because he is most likely has not healed his deep child. And I bet you anything, Kimberly, this guy has deep childhood wounds and traumas, or an adult trauma that's literally to the level of PTSD that has gone untreated. So you should look into how he was raised by his parents is usually a good sign, and how much personal development work, self-help, therapy work he's done. My guess is it's about 0, and that's why he's reacting that way. And you can't do anything about it. You can't do anything about it. He has to work on that stuff for himself. Okay? I'm sorry. That's a tough one. Because that's a person that isn't loving on himself. A person who can't love on himself or herself is going to project all their crap. This is going back to the book, The 4 Agreements. They're projecting all their crap on someone else, and that's not healthy. I'm sorry you're going through that, Kimberly. Let's see. Karen writes, if a man and woman have been dating for 2 years and someone who knows them both quite well refers to the woman as his friend, do you find this odd? Red flag. Let me repeat this again. If a man and woman have been dating for 2 years and someone who knows them both quite well refers to the woman as his friend, do you find that odd? No, I don't. Why? Why would that? Okay. Why can't, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, we should have friends of the opposite sex. I want to encourage everybody to have friends of the opposite sex. It's a good thing. I'm friends with several women, very close friends with them. Look at, if I'm in a relationship with someone and she can't accept I have female friends, then I don't want to be with someone like that. So that's just my personal take on it. I don't see that as a red flag. Now, it's a red flag if he wants to have sex with the friend. If the friend wants to have sex with them, that's a red flag, but not being friends with one another. I see that as healthy. I hope that helps, Karen. Jody writes, how do you keep a long distance relationship going when he's unable to travel due to genuine eye issues? I travel to him regularly and he pays for my fuel. Okay, so those of you know I'm not a big fan of long distance relationships for a variety of reasons, okay? Ultimately, proximity creates continuity. Doing shared activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends. That's what needs to happen to build the roots to trust and relationship. So what I don't know is how often do you see each other? But ultimately, the most important thing to be thinking about in a long distance relationship is what's your plan to take distance to be not a factor? What's your plan to go from 2 people? Oops, hope my armpits aren't showing. Oh, it's blocked by that thing. 2 people that live over here, how do you get to be in the same hood? Not living together, but how to be in the same hood. If you don't have a plan on how to make that happen, that's the demise of long distance relationships. People don't make a plan early on how to take the distance to not be a distance. Now, it's one thing if it's an hour drive. It's another if it's a 1 hour plane ride or a 5-hour drive or across the country or, God forbid, another country, okay? Ultimately, how are you going to take the distance and put it together? That's the most important questions to be talking to one another, and not about paying for fuel, although that's a good thing too. Talk about how are you going to take the distance to being close. Okay, Rosie writes, I broke up with my ex a month ago. He contacted me recently. I want to break the cycle of on and off. How can the dynamic change for a healthy relationship if we choose to get back together? Ooh. So, bum, bum, bum. Then you know what? Before the penis goes in the vagina again, both of you read this book, 8 Dates by Dr. John and Julie Gottman. 8 Dates by Dr. John and Julie Gottman. This book is the mechanics to a healthy, happy relationship. Why not say, hey, look, if we're going to do this, if we're going to fucking go down this road again, then let's be intentional about this. And this is a great book to learn if the two, look at this book and this book. Are you the one for me? 2 great books to decide if it even makes sense to being with one another. Ladies, you've got to stop chasing but I have so much chemistry with them. And I'm not suggesting you said that. but that's usually what's drawing you back together. Or it might be a cycle of repeating a pattern. Rosie, you might want to read this book, Getting the Love You Want by Harvell Hendrix and Helen Hunt. Read this book before you choose to get back together, because you might just be repeating a pattern of choosing the wrong person over and over and over again and expecting different results. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. If you want to do something different, then be intentional. Oh, look at my hair, is all fucked up. Be intentional about it. Okay? Why is my hair so poofy? Oh, wow, I really fucked it up right now. All right, so did you get, darn it. Okay, did you get my point? Don't go back and having sex. I got to stand up because of my back. Until you've had a real conversation with one another. All right, let's go. Let's keep going. We got questions. Let's keep going. By the way, Jeannie, sorry, I couldn't find your question. If you have it, post it again. I'll do my best. All right. Darn it. Oh. Thank you for answering my question. You're very welcome. Thank you. I love the way you answer my question. You're very welcome. Leaf says, we're diving into the Hoffman process next week. It'll be an eye-opener, a deal breaker. Also, totally agree with the happy versus right and divorce over staying in a bad situation. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Carol says, do you feel that investing time is the only way to prove to a man that you're not like the woman in his past? No, it's not about time. In fact, it's more about the 5 sexy mindsets we talk about. Here's the thing. Do your actions match your words? Do you take personal responsibility for your choices? Do you know how to fight fair? Do you have empathy? Are you transparent? Those are just some of the things. It's not time. It's connectivity. Are you two connecting with one another? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say something to you all. I witness relationship after relationship after relationship where people are not really friends with one another. That's why I highly recommend reading this book, Making Love All the Time. This is how you develop a deep, intimate friendship with a partner. And if you're struggling with that, then read this book. Learn the communication skills. Carol, read this book, Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. It should have been called Compassionate Communication, but here's the thing. Communication is the only way you're going to actually build a healthy, happy relationship with someone, and it is through social activities, hobbies, and mutual interests that we develop the roots to trust. It's by doing shit together. It's not a time, it's the doing of together. But sadly, most people spend more fucking time on their phones, texting all day long, instead of really connecting with one another. This is why long distance relationships rarely work, because men don't bond over the telephone. And so you've known a guy for 5 months and it's all been text, and he bonds this much and you're all in. I'm not saying you, Carol, I'm just saying in general. So do these things I suggest and that might help you. Okay. Brandy just purchased a super sticker. Thank you so much. Do you have a question? Oh, that's so sweet of you for Connor. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Okay. All right. Do we have any more questions? Bear with me. Let's see what, oh. Here, sorry, wrong one. Sadie writes, Jonathan, what are your views on older women, younger men? Well, I was in a relationship with a woman 10 years older than me. She would kill me for saying that publicly. And I was madly in love with her. I mean, by the way, my madly in love with her is because I suffered from love attachment style. If you're not familiar with the book Love Attachment, Attached, I was reliving my attachment style and my imago, which is in the book Getting the Love You Want by Harvell Hendrix and Helen Hunt. I was reliving my past, so I thought I was madly in love with her, but she was 10 years older than me. I have a couple. I know that there's a 17-year age difference. The woman is older than the man. I know lots of people that are older women, younger men. You know what? I don't like this idea age is just a number. Because there is a relevance to it. Okay, there is a relevance to it. Sometimes you might have cultural differences. Sometimes you might have differences in music and differences in activity, differences in your values and such that can be a reflection of when you grew up in society. So it's important to recognize this. Ultimately, the bottom line of how to make it work is, are you intentionally building a relationship together, or are you just spending time with one another? Ultimately, I'm a big proponent. Now, I do want to say one thing. If I was, where's my oldest son is 20, he'll be 25 next week. Colin, we're in honor of Connor, okay? But Colin, if I was 25 years old, I would do nothing but be dating older women. I would try to date women 10 or 15 years older than me. And let me tell you why. This is going to sound fucking mean, but I'm just going to say it. If I was 25 or 30, I'd be dating women 20 years older than me. Why? Because women 45 love to have sex. They probably are on birth control. So you don't have to worry about getting them pregnant. They're actually more mature than women, in their 20s. And you have a built-in exit clause when you want to break up with them. You just simply say, I want to start a family with someone. So if I was 25, the egoic old Jonathan would have done this, not the Jonathan of today, but the old Jonathan. I would have dated not but women 10, 15, 20 years older, because you can get sex all the time with a level of a maturity without the headaches and baggage, and then you have a built-in exit clause. It's not very fair, but I'm just telling you that's what a lot of guys do. And so be careful dating younger men for that reason. But are there plenty of younger men and older women? Absolutely. What I shared wasn't nice, but it's what I've observed. Great question. All right. Jonathan, yes, where can we go to meet singles over 40 men? All right, so let's just deal with the reality of this question. Where do we go to meet people? Well, look, when we're in our 20s, most of us have gone to college. So we're surrounded by single eligible people. And then as we age, we're in a workforce, but that's our next place to meet people. Okay, because the reality is unless you live in a small town or village, you don't know everybody's a stranger. And the problem is, the older we get, the more reclusive we become, and we're not around single eligible people. So where are the places to meet? Nightclubs, not the best place. Those are places that you can meet people at nightclubs, but that's not always the healthiest place to meet someone. But that's where ideally on a Friday or Saturday night, you're thinking there's going to be more single people than married people, certainly on a Saturday night, more so than a Friday night. That's just one place, physical place. Okay. Now, golf courses, bowling alleys, a couple other places you can meet people, but it's hard to meet people when people are doing activities. So this is why 90% of all first dates are happening through this little device. This is where most people are meeting today. I'm not saying it's right, but that, especially because of the pandemic, that's where most people are meeting today. And so, the reality is unless you create a circle of friends, it's going to be hard. This is the hardest thing about dating is how do you look at, I live in a condo complex with 600 units. Do you know, I barely know any of my neighbors. My soulmate could be living right across from me. I might hook up with her here, but only 10% of single eligible people, or maybe 20%, are actually using these devices to connect. There's a whole world of people that are just not putting effort out there. My invitation is put yourself on every dating site possible so you can put together a stellar profile so you can be seen by as many possible people, and just hope that the right person swipes your way. Because I don't know what the secret is out in the world, because the reality is people, I went to the grocery store today. I didn't say hi to anyone. Everybody had their masks on. I mean, that's going to change soon. And let's hope that things open up. But there's not one single place that people are congregating anymore. And certainly the pandemic changed the way we network with people now. So just create a great create a stellar dating profile so you get lots more men swiping your way, and then you can be selective and choosy. Does that help, Casey? I hope so. Michelle says face-to-face communication is the best way to move forward. Yes, men do not bond over the telephone. Men do not bond over the telephone. Oh yeah, where's Doug? All right, Grace says, stop looking for someone will appear, the law of attraction. People appear all day long in our lives. It's important to be open and receptive to love. So yes, Grace, that's certainly one way, but I'm also about being intentional. Put yourself out there to be seen by single eligible people. That increases your chances. All right. Sarah writes, what about a man I knew for 4 months, long distance relationship, but the same country? Last week, he blocked me without a reason. The problem we did with a cam, and he was happy and planned to visit me. Yeah, I don't know how to respond to that one. I don't know why he blocked you. So those things happen. Sometimes people change their mind. It's just called life. The victim blames the other person. The victor says, hey, I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to move on. I can't, without knowing more details, Sarah, I can't tell you what happened. I can only guess, and I have no guess whatsoever. Brandy writes, in regards to a potential long-term relationship during busy professional season for him, how long is too long to wait to meet for the first time? Okay, first off, look, if he has enough time to communicate with you on the phone, he has enough time to meet you. That's bullshit, okay? Some people say tax season or whatever, but you know what? If they have time to communicate on the phone, then do yourself a favor. Get on FaceTime, get on Zoom, have a Zoom date, and start connecting with them on Zoom. I guarantee you this guy is going to back off, because here's the thing, Brandy. A lot of humans are very lonely right now, and they're desperate for attention. Real humans that want a relationship don't fuck around on these devices too long. They meet right away. Okay. People who I don't care. The busy life is the bullshit response. He likes you enough to stay connected with you, but if he really liked you, he'd want to meet you right away. And I don't care how busy his life is. Okay. I lost a child and I still wasn't afraid to meet people. So, and I'd have an excuse is what I'm saying. But look, no one's life is that busy. And if they are, then they're not a good person to be in relationship with. Let's think about that. If someone's life is so fucking busy that they can't meet the first time, why do you want a relationship with someone who has a busy life like that? Sorry, that's just my curt opinion on that one, Brandy. I hope that helped. Question. GT tab 2. If our values are aligned, we like same things, and our lives are blendable, but chemistry is kind of weak, what to do? Any hope? And will there grow? First off, does he have chemistry for you? Here's the thing. I had a friend who was married for 12 years. And they were getting a divorce, but they went to therapy. And at the therapy session, the wife said to the therapist, I didn't have chemistry for my guy. And then the therapist said to the wife, then you wonder why your relationship had so many problems. Here's the thing. If you don't feel an energetic connection with your partner, then it's simply a partner for a relationship and not a partner for love or passion. And I would prefer to be in a relationship that has love and passion. And if you're not feeling it after a while, then you have to ask yourself, you can choose it for convenience, which is certainly fine. We have a lot of relationships that are a mutual exchange. But if you're seeking love and passion, then you may want to consider an alternative. Or you may want to start doing workshops together, love workshops together, tantra together, do Kama Sutra together, read this book together, and find a way to find that passion together. But if you're unable, if there's a block going on, that possibly the block is within inside of you, or maybe it's just never going to be there. And that happens too. But it's okay to be in a relationship of convenience. That's okay too. But you have to ask your heart, what does your heart truly want? I prefer love and passion, but that's just me. All right. Lily or Leah writes, I'm a very young, almost 60-year-old. Finding men my age or older are not young at heart for me, and younger guys aren't emotionally intelligent enough. Any suggestions? Why is this so hard? Well, you just actually described what it feels like for both men and women alike when they hit their midlife. Is that the reality is most people after about age 55 do a terrible job taking care of their physical health. They have weak emotional skills to begin with. Okay. And everybody's trying to find someone younger that they're more attracted to. So this is the dilemma we're faced with. And now here goes back to one of our problems with these devices. We think we have all these options. Ultimately, the challenge is, look at the most important relationship you have is with yourself. That's the most important relationship you have. This is why I'm such a big proponent of I had to stand up because my back was hurting. This is why I'm such a big proponent of self-love, is because that's the most important relationship you're ever going to have is with yourself. And ultimately, it's like what Grace said. When you're in a good place, the right partner will show up. It comes out of the blue when you're in a good place. When you're feeling desperate, it doesn't happen. So I'm not suggesting you're feeling desperate, but I will say this, when we're feeling desperate, it won't happen. Just enjoy your life, put yourself out there, make some effort, not a lot, just a little bit of effort every day. And you might be surprised that how it might just sometimes fall in your lap when you least expect it. Because I don't believe in trying too hard, but I don't believe in not trying at all. But what I do believe is a daily practice of personal development, self-help, and spiritual work, because that relationship with yourself is going to magnify into attracting the right relationship for you. And even if it doesn't happen in this lifetime, it'll happen in the next or the next thereafter. This journey we're on here on this third rock from the sun, we get a lot of chances to do this over again, everybody. We may not get it this time. We might get it the next time or the time after. And that's okay too. That's my perception anyway. Grace writes, it's really fun flirting and asking subtle questions before you ever move forward with anyone. I agree. Lengthen through your tailbone, Jonathan. Thank you. My back. Bridge writes, I don't mind if relationships break up, but I don't like it when the other acts weird and can't break up as an adult and talk about it and stay friends. So there's a great book by my friend Catherine Woodward Thomas called Conscious Uncoupling, the 5 Steps to Living Happily Ever After, or Even After. By the way, I'm in this book on page 220. My ex-girlfriend and I are in this book. Look at our breakup made a book. I'm a big proponent of learning how to end a relationship in a kind, loving way. And if you're in a relationship that isn't going anywhere, you may want to get this book to read how to shift out of an unhealthy relationship with a partner or a relationship that isn't going anywhere into a great relationship with yourself. And that book helps make that happen. Hey, everyone, first off, I want to repeat those 5 things we talked about for those that came in late. First off, the 5 sexy mindsets high value men love in women. Actions matching words. Takes personal responsibility for one's choices. They know how to fight fair. It's not about being right. They have empathy and transparency. As I shared about 45 minutes ago, today is my son Connor's, right there, 22nd birthday. Well, first off, he's 19. He passed away at 19. And this would have been his 22nd birthday. And I had a chance to share a little cake with you all, a little cake right here, and take a little bite. I want to thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart. All the love and support so many of you give me. I can't begin to tell you how much I appreciate the kindness, the care, the super stickers, the super chats, the just to name a few, the loving comments. As a parent, There really is no terrible, worse nightmare than having something happen to your child. And there's no doubt I've been suffering deeply, but I chose in honor of Connor not to suffer. When I say suffer deeply, there are moments where I'm hit so hard. And those triggers oftentimes are just opportunities to remind me that I had such a blessed time with him. And I'm grateful for every moment, but this is something I don't wish on any parent. And many of you ask how. It was an accident. I don't want to go into details, but it was an accident. Unexpected, didn't get a chance to say goodbye. And that's hard. There's nothing harder than losing a child. And many of you have lost people in your lives. You've lost relationships. You've lost friends. Some of you have lost children. You've lost parents. We've all been down that road. This is part of life. And my hope is, as I did that birthday wish for everybody, is my wish from Connor is that we all love on ourselves, that we love on ourselves, that we love on ourselves. Really quickly, this book was dedicated to Connor. There's his picture in my book. That we all love on ourselves and we love others. It is through the love that we will find our way to inner peace. And my invitation is every one of you do a daily practice of personal development, self-help, and spiritual work so you can find that love within, so you can be prepared. It's like a vaccination to emotional chaos. And my hope is my channel shifts your perspective into doing more work on yourself and reading all these books I recommend, because it is through the growth within. It's not about finding a relationship. As I said before, it's about finding the relationship within yourself. And my hope everybody does that. I think this would be a great place to wrap up today. For those 5 sexy mindsets, first off, I want to thank you all. First off, I'm going to give myself a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug of self-love. I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love, if that's okay. I'm going to ask you to turn to someone, a pet, a teddy bear, a pillow, and give it or them a hug of love, because hugs are a great source of love. And let's face it, we can all use more love in our lives. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I want to thank Lily, Michelle, Bridge, Kelly, Tina, all those. Let me just say everyone's name. I'm just so grateful for all of you. Kelly, there you are. Leaf, Amir, Julie, Sylvia, I'm amazing. Pat, Vanessa, Barbara, thank you. Michael, going through fast. Susan, Jenny, oh, you know what? She asked this question before. We're gonna answer it. I just found it. Question: why are you still single if you know so much about women and how to treat them? First off, I know nothing about women. Women are batshit crazy from my eyes. Okay, let me just say that I think most women are batshit crazy. But I'm just being silly. You know what the truth is very few women meet this criteria of being emotionally mature. Number one. Number two, I went through a lot of tragedy in the last 3 years, and that time has been spent focusing on healing myself. So it's not about, you know what it is? Here's the thing. I just haven't met my person yet. That's it. Just haven't met her yet. She might show up tomorrow. She might show up tonight. She might show up tomorrow. She might show up a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, or 5 years from now. It doesn't matter when. I know she'll find me and I'll find her. I just haven't met her yet. And for all of us, we just haven't met our person yet. There's nothing wrong with being single, because as I said before, the best relationship you're going to have is with yourself. So I hope I answered that question. All right. Time to wrap up today. Big hugs to you all. Have a wonderful evening. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.